Pursuit of Excellence is 21 years old, founded in 1994 by Marie Diaz. At the time, she was working for Jenny Craig International. Jenny Craig had a restriction on doing business in the United States based on a non-compete agreement, and so Australia was the first country where the organization opened services. Marie was very instrumental in building the organization in Australia and doing the leadership development for the business. So it was back in 1994 that she had a 3-week trip that she had just come home from, and the story goes that she walked in and there was a lot of conflict with the nanny, and she just thought this is not worth the stress, and she decided she was going to quit. And being a single mom of 3, that was a big deal. She decided that she wanted to just open her own business and be in control of her time. So she walked in the next day and quit. Well, that was the first opportunity for Jenny Craig to become her first client. So next few years, she continued to do organizational development, design training. By 1997, the business started to move into human resources. So HR outsourcing and consulting was the first space, and then moved on beyond that to payroll and more recently into the benefits arena. Some people ask, how did you come up with the name Pursuit of Excellence? Real quick, the story is that one of her sons, when he was very young, had an art project at school, and the picture of his parents is what he was supposed to draw. Well, he didn't have a dad at home, so he drew a picture of mom literally running out the door, and the title for his picture was Mommy in Pursuit of Excellence. And when Marie saw that, she thought, wow, one day I want to have a business where I name it Pursuit of Excellence. So that's where the name came from. It's obvious that Marie was bringing the leadership development and success principles into her home, and so that's something that very much permeates our culture even still today. One of the things you'll also see is that there's a lot of recognition around Pursuit of Excellence growth in the market. If you've gotten a series of links, you've probably seen some information online. In 2014, we continued our trend of winning a number of awards. The SMU Cox School of Business Dallas 100 celebrates the top fastest 100 growing privately held firms in Dallas-Fort Worth. We were number 36 on that list. The Dallas-Fort Worth Minority Supplier Development Council has an award they give every year called the Excellence Award, and in 2014 we won the E Award. We also won the Dallas Hispanic Chamber of Commerce Quality and Excellence Award, and the Dallas Business Journal has us listed for several different things as well. And probably the one that I'm very proud of is for the 3rd year we are in the Inc. 1000. I think one of the trends that I've seen over the years is that companies interrogate their candidates, and it probably feels that way in the interview process, instead of working together to come up with a collaborative decision. I think in reality, most employers are very deluded. In fact, it's the candidate that's interviewing the company, not the other way around. So what we want to do here today is change that paradigm a little bit, and we want to work with you to hopefully identify what we believe is a win-win-win-win. And that would be a decision where all the stakeholders in this actually benefit. So for example, you as a candidate, you would benefit because the opportunity here at Pursuit of Excellence is in line with your goals, your career direction. It's an opportunity for you to develop and grow. Our business wins because you're bringing talent, skills, capabilities, and a cultural fit to our firm that helps us build our team and grow the organization. But our clients win also because they are thrilled that you came on board because of what you bring to them through us. But there's another group, and that is whoever you go home to, whoever is your primary stakeholder or supporter, we want them to feel like they won also. If you took a job and it was 100% travel, somebody might have a problem with that. So the goal here is to, again, work together with you and give you enough information about the company and the opportunity so it feels like you're participating in this decision. Probably the first question that candidates want to ask in most interviewing scenarios is, what's the culture like at the company? They want to know if they're going to be a good fit, it's going to be a good fit for them and their family. So I want to be very transparent and give you a view of what we value within our cultural environment. And for some people, this may be a turnoff, and that's great. If you decide today, right now, that this is not the place for you, then that's a good decision to make. If you decide, wow, that resonates with me, and I can appreciate those cultural values, then that may be something that helps you have deeper interest and want to move forward. So the first thing that I think is worth addressing is what we consider number one, and that is integrity. Integrity here is not just doing the right thing, but it's doing the right thing when nobody's watching. We don't want people to have to go home at the end of the day and feel guilty that they swept something under the carpet, or they hid something from a client, or they had to be dishonest with the numbers. No, we want to be able to very intentionally look at those issues and believe that if we are honest with ourselves, we can address them and get better and move ahead. So integrity shows up at all levels, and it's expected of everyone. The next thing is we're very team-oriented. If somebody doesn't have the capacity or capability of getting something done, and they raise their hand and they're asking for help from team members, that's something that we support. We want it to feel like a team, that we're all in this together, and that we're committed to each other's growth. And the opportunity is something that benefits us all. Another place that shows up is in cross-training. It is very important for us to have team members cross-trained so that they're personally growing and gaining more knowledge and value in their experience, but also it's good for our clients. We don't want to ever have to tell a client, sorry, that person is out today, we can't answer your question. But it also means that if you have a day off or you want to take a vacation, you're not going to be penalized when you come back with hundreds of emails stacked up in your inbox, that there's somebody there to cover that stuff when you're out. So that's very important to us because it helps keep balance in the environment, and it's good for the client. One of the other things that we very intentionally put time and attention on is individual development plans. We know that for HR specialists particularly, there's not usually someone who is a coach and a mentor helping them grow and develop professionally. Oftentimes a senior people officer is reporting to a COO or a CFO, or if you're in an HR organization as a generalist, you're a team of one, and you don't have that ability to connect with higher level team members. Here, we're in an environment where everyone is either a talent management, a benefits, a payroll, or an HR professional, and they're at all levels. And so we identify what are your skills and capabilities based on your background and experience, and where do you have developmental opportunities. And we build that out very intentionally so that next year you're more valuable. Kind of like the car industry releases a new model car every year. It just gets better every year. Well, we want there to be a new model you every year. And so we're constantly building and developing and training the team members that are here so that every year they're better and more valuable. It's not a cliche, but a relentless pursuit of excellence is something that permeates everything that we do here. It means that we're never satisfied with the status quo. That today it's fine, but tomorrow it'll be better. That if we're going to work in the business, we're going to work on the business at the same time. And we're going to constantly drive innovation and continuous improvement. So I'm personally a Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt from my background and experience, and so I'm very much a supporter of ongoing iterative development and growth. So that's something that regardless of what role you're in, that's something that's very, very important. The last thing I would mention is servant leadership is an expectation of anybody that's in a leadership or a supervisory role. It's something that shows up by the fact that you're committed to helping other people become successful, and it's something we expect of anybody in a leadership function. So those are some things that are very important to us, and that you're not going to necessarily see a plaque on the wall with all of our core values. You're going to see a constant discussion around these core imperatives. I want to speak to very briefly the services that we offer. We have a slogan that we use that Pursuit of Excellence offers hope to business and industry worldwide, where HOPE stands for HR, Organizational Design Development, Payroll, and Employee Services. So we're going to dive into those for the next few minutes so you understand the breadth of services and capability. First of all, there are three major kinds of services we offer: audit, consulting, and outsourcing. And all of that is offered along these four service lines. If you have a PDF that was sent to you, it should look like this. It has 4 blocks. It's our capability statement. Or if you're here, you can reference this. We'll go over this real quick. What Pursuit of Excellence has done is it's recognized that within any business, there is what we call the enterprise architectural stack: people, process, technology, information, facilities, materials. And of all of those layers, the people layer has the most expense and it has the most cost and risk associated with it. So as a consulting organization, we've specialized in addressing people-related issues within a business. So human resources is everything from audit and compliance to outsourcing and consulting. Within the organizational design space, we offer leadership development, mandatory training, and other types of developmental training. We also do organizational design consulting, which is a top-down review of the organizational framework, such as job descriptions and capabilities and competencies. And in the payroll arena, we offer a variety of solutions that include audit, compliance, as well as we offer a professional employer organization solution that allows for small businesses to put their employees on our federal ID and us to provide a staff leasing option. And then finally, the employee services or employee lifecycle management category is everything from staffing to benefits administration. So whether we're talking about HR, organizational design, payroll, or employee services, there is 4 essential levels of work. We have transactional work at the lowest level. That's the stuff that's frequently outsourced, processing. And then there is tactical work, which is usually compliance related. And then at a higher level and of greater value is transformational work. It's usually project based. If an organization has paper-based applications for applicants and they're moving to an online applicant tracking system, the implementation of that ATS would be an example of transformational work. And then finally, at the very highest level, strategic work, where we come in and we help align the talent with the organizational goals and objectives. So there's essentially 3 dimensions that I want you to visualize. The 4 lines of service, HOPE, are around 3 types of services: audit, consulting, and outsourcing. And then finally, 4 different levels of work: transactional, tactical, transformational, and strategic. The other thing you might want to know is that we have a unique organizational model because we have to have team members with all those capabilities within our corporation because we don't know what our clients are going to need. Depending on the client situation, they may need transformational work or they may want to outsource transactional work. So we have to have team members that cover that entire matrix of capability. But we also use frequently 1099 contractors as an extension of our enterprise, where particularly if something's project-based, there's people that have skills and abilities that we draw on. So there may be somebody who's listening to this or here that recognizes maybe this isn't a good fit for you professionally, but you have some skills as a subject matter expert and you want to be able to be available for project work on an ongoing basis. We do that as well. We also have what we call our POE partner program. This is typically for folks that want to be more in a client-facing or business development role where they are out doing audit and consulting and designing solutions for the customer, but they're not required to deliver the services. We actually handle that on their behalf. So in a sense, they become like an independent representative of Pursuit of Excellence. And for folks that are at the high point of their career, and they've got C-level communication capabilities and executive presence, and they've always wanted to go into HR consulting. It's a lot better to franchise with us and use our model than it would be to build everything from scratch. And that's something that we've built and we offer to folks that have an interest in that. So we have team members internally within our corporate environment that offer all these capabilities. We've got folks that we embed into client operations, and they're on the client site. And then we've got 1099 partners, and then we have POE partners that act as independent representatives. So that is a very, very unique organizational model. After 21 years in this industry, I can tell you I've never quite seen anything like that. But what it does is it provides tremendous breadth of opportunity for individuals that want to grow and develop in this industry and work directly with clients. We're going to go over a couple things here that are very important as well. The first one is key drivers that are accelerating our growth right now in the market. There are several things that we think is important for you to know as a candidate. Obviously, you want to go with a growing firm professionally. You don't want to find out 6 months after you start a job that they're going through a RIF and they've lost all kinds of business and it's a shrinking island. So we want to be very transparent about what we're doing to drive growth and drive opportunity. The first is that there is a lot of wind in our sails here. We are in the outsourcing industry, and business process outsourcing and HR outsourcing is a trend that has been around for a long time, and it's continuing to increase in momentum. I was just at the American Staffing Association conference and heard a presentation that said the growth in just the professional employer space right now is about $9 billion industry, and in 30 years it'll be at $500 billion. So it's another statistic that shows that we are on an S-curve of growth within our own industry. And we're seeing that on multiple levels, both with small businesses that are looking at reducing costs, improving their ability to stay compliant, and also recharacterize their business model, and outsourcing to a third-party vendor that can provide HRO, payroll, training support is huge for a small organization. For the large organizations, they're already doing this, and so this is a trend that's continuing. We have both large and small clients as a result. The smaller clients are connected to us because they are benefiting from one or another or all of our services. In the large client space, and I'm talking about organizations like DFW Airport, Dallas Area Rapid Transit, local independent school districts, and other large national companies. Those businesses are utilizing services typically because we are a Tier 2 subcontractor providing support to a much larger prime contractor. We have relationships, for example, with Aon Hewitt, Cigna, Aetna. These are large companies that are in the HR industry and are providing very large project-based work or outsourcing services to very large customers. And we serve as a subcontractor, either offering a best-in-class service that is a component of their service delivery model, or we are coupled with them as a minority supplier, because in some part of the contract there's a requirement to have a diversity component to the overall service delivery model. So as a minority-owned business, we have some special privilege in that area as well. So some work we win because we're great, some work we win because we have minority status as well. Another thing that's driving our growth is that we have an increasing track record of success in the municipal and public service market. We're increasingly presenting new proposals and winning new work around municipal contracts, cities, as well as counties. And that is a very unique space that a lot of businesses don't support. So it's a great way for us to diversify our capabilities and our revenue, but it's an area of differentiation for us as well. Another thing is that we have committed to growth. A business that doesn't commit to growth doesn't grow automatically. We've done a variety of different things over the past couple of years to improve our internal infrastructure as our commitment to growth. One thing is that we've moved entirely from on-premise based servers for our IT infrastructure to cloud-based infrastructure, which means we can log in from a browser and work from anywhere in the world. It also means we've got outstanding continuity of operations, scalability, and redundancy that helps us remain compliant with all of our very large contracts. That model is extremely scalable. Since I've been here, which has now been about 4 years, we've also upgraded our people by layering stronger performance objectives and stronger individual development plans. We've also implemented stronger operational excellence practices within the process layer to increase our scalability. So these are some of the things that we want you to know, because a lot of times when you're looking at a business that is owned by a small group of principals or it's owned by a sole proprietor, they get comfortable and they don't want to grow. Here we're very much about the driving growth. 10 times our current size is our current objective, and we need people, and we need great people to be able to do that. Let me share with you some information that will help you understand what we're doing to differentiate ourselves as a professional services organization and how we are moving into blue ocean water and hopefully taking you with us. The first one that makes us very, very unique, and it's a key differentiator, is we have a strategic top-down point of view. Let me show you an example of how that works. When a company has a job opening and they want to use a staffing company, they're usually on the phone to an account representative, and the conversation is very quick. Do you have a job description? When do you need the role filled? What's the bill rate? Okay, we're ready to take on that work. The staffing industry is very transactional. It's order taking. And what happens is nobody questions the rationale behind the hiring decision. It's just a job that needs to be filled. When you have a strategic, top-down, consultative point of view, you push back. You ask provocative questions like, what's the purpose of the role? What are the key requirements for the person? What are the goals and objectives for the person in that role? Does the role need to be backfilled by a full-time W-2 employee? Is it best provided by a third-party vendor? Is it something that could be outsourced or automated? What's the risk associated with the role? What are the options? Those are all questions that come from having more of a strategic discussion around talent management and how talent supports a business. So that's very, very different. It's very differentiating, and that shows up whether we're talking about HR, payroll, or organizational design. When we get phone calls frequently from clients that have a goal of redoing job descriptions, we come back in with that very purposeful discussion about why they're trying to do what they're doing. Another thing that's very differentiating is we have the capability of addressing all those levels of work. Remember the transactional, the tactical, the transformational, and the strategic work. If a business wants to outsource all of the transactional and tactical work, we can take that on their behalf. If they need a partner that understands their overall business model and can help them with transformational work, we can do that as well. If they need a strategic partner to function either as a full-time or a fractional chief people officer, top-down, we can do that as well. And that's very, very different. Most of the time, if a business needs that breadth of service, they literally have to go back to this framework, and they've got to find a company that does HR, a company that does payroll, a company that does training, a broker that does benefits, and they end up with a very complex, bolted together scenario where the vendors don't even talk to each other. When we're engaged, we see that entire people layer, and we can make decisions that benefit the whole and don't optimize parts of it. Another thing that we can do is we can show up as a trusted advisor, because we like to explain that we're solution agnostic and we're technology agnostic, meaning we're not promoters of a specific product, technology platform, or service. I won't pick on any company here today right now, but a lot of times when you call a vendor, they are looking at selling you on one of their services or products. We don't use that approach because we don't represent specific products or services, and we don't produce our own. It doesn't matter what technology platform a business is on. We can come in as a true trusted advisor and help them make the best decisions regardless of the technology or the platform. Another thing is that if a business needs HR and payroll and benefits and training, which all businesses do, they can't just call a company that can do all of that, because usually you have to get into a very large company space before you'll get the attention of an Accenture or a Deloitte or a KPMG or a Buck Consulting or an IBM that has the capacity and capability of doing all those things. So what we become is a very rare consultative resource for the small to mid-sized business market, because we can do all those things and we take on those smaller clients. The larger companies, like I just mentioned, they won't even take on a customer that doesn't have 5, 10, or sometimes 20,000 employees. So that makes us extremely unique and differentiating. The last thing I would share is that we also have a very international perspective. A lot of what we know and take for granted here in the United States has tremendous value overseas. And so we're also looking, while we're growing our organization, to have a much broader international impact. Marie has a passion for helping folks internationally, beyond even English-speaking countries. But if you're an international, or you know of folks that have traveled, you know that there's just a tremendous need for HR work, everything from human rights issues to parity in pay to equal treatment of women and men in the workplace. There's just a huge need, and we can influence the global market from where we are here as an organization based on the platform we have. So if that's of interest to you, that's something else that we're very, very excited about and passionate about. We want you to know that regardless of whether this is the place for you professionally or not, we want to part as friends. This is a very small industry, and you may be watching this or here right now and realize that, hey, you know of someone who would love to work in a company like this. By all means, we want to know who that person is. We would love to be able to reach out to them. Or you may be hearing and realize that you know of a company that is struggling or looking for a provider or is looking for a trusted service provider for one of our solutions. By all means, please let us know. We would love to be able to partner and help another business or someone you know become more successful. Or as I mentioned earlier, you may be a subject matter expert in a specific domain and always open to project work as a contractor. Please let us know that as well. Or if you know of somebody, or perhaps you've considered going into business for yourself as a consultant in the HR industry and want more information about our POE Partner Program, please ask. But if you are, after all this, still considering a possible full-time opportunity with our company, I would tell you, first of all, this is like a 20-year-old startup. We have the credibility and the framework and the infrastructure, but it feels very, very much like a startup. If you're the kind of person that is looking to jump into something where you can make a difference, you can put your thumbprint on something, you can have an impact, and you can take all that knowledge and education and experience forward in your career, then this is the right place for you. So I think at this point, we know we're the right company, offering the right products at the right time in the right market. The big question is, are you the right person to be part of this team?